Hi, this is Craig. Welcome to the Lair. This is role-playing riddles and random encounters, and this week we're going to be talking about how to make a Dungeons & Dragons legendary villain. Villains are really important to a game, especially when you're just making your D&D campaign with your characters, and to inspire them, intrigue them, and also frustrate them. So what we're going to first talk about is what you do in order to make a villain. So what you want to do is first think about, is this a villain that you want to last a full campaign, possibly years, and you want to decide, if it's going to be someone who's going to be the head of a guild. Is it going to be a dragon? Is it going to be a wizard? Is it going to be something that's already a person, or is it going to be a NPC who's actually a character, like a fighter, say, or multi-class? So what you want to do is decide that, and what I recommend is that the NPC you start is higher level than the first level characters that start the game, because the whole point of that is that you want that encounter with that legendary villain. So at the start of your characters' careers, it's also the start, or not quite the beginning, but the villain is going to be a little bit more powerful than the characters. So what you want to do is, this is my opinion, this has worked out really well for me, is you make it a random encounter when the characters are first level. So you want to use the villain in such a way that the characters think it's a random encounter, but it's really planned. So you can roll a die to see if it's a random encounter, but it really isn't. It's really part of your master plan, long-term plans to put something deep into the game that's going to last quite a while. So at first level, let's say an encounter comes to the group's campfire at night, or probably not at night because that's suspicious. It would be before nightfall comes, and this mercenary or trader or wizard or whatever it is just wants to be at the campfire. So that's one angle you can take as a random encounter, or it can be something that's more planned, and it can still be a random encounter, but it's planned again by you as the DM. So it could be something that's part of the plot, like you were supposed to meet someone, and this villain actually caught that person, killed them, replaced them, and came to your party and already has documentation or the password or whatever you want to use to do that. So that's something you want to do with the villain. Now, of course, at first, this character that joins the group is going to be, of course, treacherous and nefarious, but that's not how you're going to play it. They'll be helpful. They'll stay with the group for a certain period of time, and when it's all over, they're either going to rob the group and really make them a little pissed off, or they're going to steal information, or they're going to take something vital, bit of knowledge that'll come in further in the game, whether it's this game night or a future game night, and it'll be known that it was that character that does it. And what's kind of cool is during the campaign, what you do is, as the characters are lower level, the villain might be caught by the characters at first, but that's why you want to make sure the villain is more powerful so they can escape. And you want to give the villain elusive powers and abilities which can't be explained, because in D&D anything's possible. Whether it's some kind of a teleportation trick, or some kind of invisibility, or whatever it is. But you want to make sure the villain can't be caught. It's like an uncatchable foe. It's your Boba Fett, if it was Star Wars, for example. So you do that, and you make sure that the villain shows up now and then in the background. The villain's going to either have subordinates, like henchmen, or is going to come against the group in some way and do like the evil professor did in Indiana Jones, and he'll cause trouble and screw things up for the group. So over time, they're really going to hate this guy, because he's going to keep popping up, or she, depending on which way you want to go with it. So then as the group gets more powerful, but the villain is always more powerful. he's always, you know, ahead. Or an example of another one, what turns into a good guy in the end, is a Jaraxel for the Drizzt novels, for example. Someone like that, someone with elusive abilities. So as the game goes on and on and on, he's uncatchable, he or she, until finally when they're high levels, maybe there's a showdown, maybe there's a truce, and maybe something goes on, who knows. Now, when you're making the character, something that always kind of throws people off is a name. I have noticed from people I know who play D&D that names always get them because it has to be something that's really memorable and has to be something, a name that's really catchy. Now, don't try to, when you're thinking of a villain, plan out what the villain's going to do. So in the days coming up to the adventure before the first appearance, you can give yourself time to think of a really cool villain name. I'm going to throw one out there that I've used in numerous campaigns who's reappeared over, again, I played for decades, and this bad guy has shown up now and again. And you guys can use this villain's name because it's really good, so I've been told. But Rigolo Fortune. And that is a bounty hunter who was evil, who showed up against numerous of my different campaigns I've had of the same character, who had very powerful magical items, special abilities, and he was a NPC character type. So if anyone wants to use that, that's a really cool name, Rigolo Fortune. If ever I think of any other NPC names I've used, because then you can use my name that I give up. Just like if it's a module that's already been made. Because I know that kind of thing, that finishing touch is nice, especially when people hear a name like Rigolo Fortune. It's like Boba Fett. It's like that. So when you're dealing with, again, a legendary villain, you want to make sure that you have long-term plans. So someday when the characters are more powerful, they have a guild or they have a castle. Or finally when there's an unmasking. So like when the Wizard of Oz, when the curtain's revealed, the characters find out, and of course the players in the group find out that it was your Rigolo Fortune, or whoever you want to use, who's been actually behind all kinds of villainous, treacherous problems throughout time. So again, the name is important, but don't pressure yourself on that. You want to make sure that things flow well and you think of really cool powers. Remember, the characters don't have to always kill or capture the villain. It's really cool if they think they're killing the bad guy, or if they think they're capturing them, but really the bad guy's one step ahead. And that's how you make a legendary villain. So I just wanted to make sure I could share that with you guys out there, because people have asked me before, how do you make a good bad guy? Because generally you don't just want to have a boss monster every adventure, because that gets kind of cheesy and old. You want to have a big bad guy who comes back again and again. I've also had, in my last campaign, a 0 level bad guy who caused all kinds of trouble. But the thing is that he never stuck his neck, he put his neck out to be caught. So it doesn't matter if it's a player character that's higher, that's NPC, like a multi-class, or if it's a 0 level guy. You just got to make sure that the characters can't catch him, because that's important, because you want to always have them chasing. The chase is what's important. That always gets the characters going, gets them angry at somebody, which is really cool. All right, so anyway, that's my take on how to make a legendary villain. And if you want to put anything in the comments about that, that'd be great. And if you want to like me, that's fantastic, or follow me, that would be really cool. The riddle for this week that you can answer next week in the comments, because again, I'm going to put up a episode every Monday, is: once it is unsheathed, its potential knows no bounds. History is nothing without it. It is greater than the sword. Once it climbed the sky, now it dwells on land. What is it? So that's my riddle for the upcoming week for you to answer. So thanks again. This is Craig Olson for Role-Playing Riddles and Random Encounters, and I'm checking out from the lair. Thanks for checking me out.